All right. Well, we are excited today. We have one of the most brilliant sales directors in the Ponco-Madison National areas, and she is a three-time top director trip winner. Lots of pink Cadillacs. Emily Schutte is going to share today. So, yay. Welcome, Emily Schutte.
Yay, everybody. Happy New Year. Woo! I haven't had any sugar yet this year. It's only been a day and a half, but we're doing pretty good. Oh my gosh, we'll see how that goes. Um, yeah, well, this time of year is just so much fun. So I'm gonna kind of talk with you about just kind of setting some goals and intentions and giving you some tools. And then you guys should have time to ask me stuff. So if you think of a question when I'm talking, just write it down. But I've seen so many of those fun, what when the new year hits, you see all these Facebook posts where people are like, the first three words you see in this gigantic thing of words are your words for the year, or people are posting like, what's your word for the year? And so if you don't have a word, I'll give you one today. A really good word that has really served me well in my business is the word intention. Okay, so what's your intention behind just about anything that you're doing in Mary Kay, right? So today I'm really going to talk about intention and finishing. And did you know someone said this once to me, and I was like, that's really good. So finishing, whether it's a goal, a perfect contest, earning a free car, DIQ, whatever you're finishing is a skill. And what's cool about finishing actually being a skill is it's not just a thing that lucky people experience. If it's a skill, it means that it's something that you can actually learn. So if you have the habit of, we'll call it letting yourself off the hook, where you say, I'll just do that next month, I'll just do that next month, I'll just do that next week, I'll just do that tomorrow, you're not building the muscle memory of the skill of finishing. So I'm going to give you some tips today on like how to actually do that. Um, but one of the things that I was thinking about when Lisa and I were talking about the topic today is that a lot of us start the month out saying things like, my goal this month is a perfect 6 or a perfect 10, right? How many of you set a goal like that already for your activity? Anybody here set an activity like that already? Okay, some of you are nodding your heads. But my question is, how many of us stop and ask why? Right? Like, what's your intention behind that? Because if there's no intention behind it, then it's just box checking, right? And box checking isn't going to get you where you want to go. And, is I think sometimes we set that goal because we're told like, hey, we got to do activity, booking, selling, team building to, reach DIQ or to reach earning a car and moving into a leadership role. Um, so we just think, well, if I just do this, it's just going to happen, right? If I'm just doing the activity. And so let me just clarify, saying that same thing with intention would sound something like this. I want to do a perfect 6 this month because I want to add 30 plus new customers to my customer base. I want to recruit 3 or more new team members, and I want to retail $2,000 or more in product. Right? So it's like you're saying I want to do a perfect 6, but the why is behind it. Here's why I want to do that perfect 6. Here's why I want to do that perfect 10. So whatever your activity goal is this month, my challenge to you is to go, oh, I didn't even realize I was doing that, because we all do it. I've done it too, But what's the intention? Like, what do you hope happens by the end of the month? So that would be the first thing. And then the second thing is looking at that activity goal and saying, okay, maybe you've done a perfect 6 or a perfect 10 or whatever before, and you haven't seen the results that you wanted. Really taking a look at that. And again, that pesky why word, like why. And when I dive in to this with people in my own team or in my own business, it's it's this thought: new faces take you places, right? Sometimes we get in the habit, and it's not a bad thing, where we have, the same customers. Like, I have this one customer, her name's Amanda. She has literally been on 13 of my virtual events in a row, and I love her. She'll buy things like every time, but like, Amanda is not I mean, the needle has not moved at all for her joining my team. I no longer count her as a face. Like I stopped counting her as a face probably after the fourth time she was on an event because it just, when you start counting that as faces, it's going to skew your results, right? So it's new faces take you places. So maybe a fun way to kick off the new year is like, maybe you've done lots of perfect sixes or 30 faces in a month or however, whatever metric you're using. What if you did it all on new faces, right? With that intention behind it. So the other thought is looking at your goals for the month and making sure that your activity matches the intention and that your activity matches the goal. For example, let's say you have 0 team members right now, and in your heart, you're thinking, you know what, I really want to do a perfect 6 with the intention of adding 8 new so that I can go DIQ February 1st, right? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not good at math, but there's no way that math adds up, right? Like a perfect 6, unless you have like an already established gigantic customer base that you have not really dug in and interviewed, there's no way. I mean, I'm really good at recruiting and there's no way I would recruit 8 from a perfect 6. Like, I mean, maybe if I got really lucky, but like we're not basing this off of luck. So just kind of looking at it, and if you don't know, because that's a legitimate thing, if maybe you're a newer consultant or you're just kind of new to this whole figuring out, does my activity match my goal? That's really the role of your sales director. We can sit down with you and take a deep dive into what your activity goals are for this month and tell you, what you might actually need to do to hit your goals. Because again, if finishing is a skill, part of that is just like knowing what we have to do to actually finish something. So in order to finish something, you must know what you need to do to finish it, right? So that's step one, which I love that today is January 2nd. You've got the time, right? Like we're at the beginning of the month where you can do that. Okay, so then within that activity, okay, so let's say you've got your intention, you're like perfect 6 with the intention of this. I'm gonna do it new faces. Um, then kind of the next step, let's say, you're looking for bookings or you're trying to get the activity going. Another, again, back to this word intention, is the activity that I'm doing giving me the results that I want? Let me give you an example. Maybe you're someone who just loves facial boxes and you've always done facial boxes. Like that is your go-to lead thing, like facial boxes. It's been facial boxes for the last 6 months, and it was working great until it wasn't, right? So if you were doing facial boxes and maybe it just like lately you haven't been getting the intended result that you really wanted from that, try another way, right? Try something new, try something different. Maybe the way that the booking script, the referral script you've been using used to work and it's not working right now. Try something new, right? And sometimes in that trying of something new, we even re-excite ourselves. This happens to me all the time. I'll do something new and I'm like, oh no, I've been doing it this way for a long time. And then just that tweak of something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this again. And so try something different only if you haven't been getting the intended result. If you have been getting results from something, by all means, don't stop doing it. But if you really haven't and it's more just a comfort zone thing, it's time to look at that and go, okay, what's something new that I could try to get myself out of my comfort zone, learn a new skill, and probably get a more intended result behind what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tools for this because this all sounds really great, but on the weekly basis, if you're thinking about, okay, I'm doing a perfect 6 with the intention of this, you've looked at new faces, you've looked at what you're doing, how do you know that what you're doing weekly is what you need to be doing? Right? So this is a funny, well, I don't know, it's not really funny, but it's a true thing about me. I have never been strong or excited about tracking. Okay, just full disclosure, it's never like, yay, I can't wait to get my tracking sheet out. Now, some of you, you're like, yay, I love tracking sheets. It's never been my thing. But the way that I get myself excited about it is I know that if I do a tracking sheet on something for a period of time, like I'm talking 3 to 6 months, what excites me about doing that is by the end of 3 to 6 months, it has become a muscle memory for me. And I no longer have to rely so heavily on the tracking sheet because I just know by what it feels like in my body, what it feels like in my date book, what it feels like in my office, when those things that I need to do have been happening, that I don't have to rely as heavily on a tracking sheet. So when I can get to that point, I'm like, okay, it's worth it. It's kind of like when you think you're eating really healthy until you actually start keeping a food diary and you're like, holy crap, how the heck did I eat 3,000 calories a day? But you actually write it down and you go, oh my gosh, that's why you need to track, because you might think that you're only eating 1,200 calories a day, but girl, you're like 4,000 ding that thing, right? Like you're having dip and the whole thing. Okay. So one of my favorite tracking sheets to support your activity goals is an IPA sheet, which stands for income producing activities. And so here's the one, and I will share this. I made this myself. And the reason I made my own tracking sheet is so that it matched the languaging of my team, but also because most of the IPA sheets that I see don't include lead generating as an income producing activity. And I completely disagree with that. I think lead generating is a direct, with intention, right? That's actually working, is a direct income producing activity. So I will show you the one I have. Your director may have a different one. It doesn't really matter. The point is to track your progress over time so that it becomes a muscle memory and you don't have to think about it as much. So this is the one I have. So you'll see, excuse me, at the bottom, you these fun little bubbles, and so you have your IPA goals for the week. So if you look on the right here, these are the IPAs that I have. So it's holding a party is worth 3, having $100 sales day, doing a face, like doing a facial, a lead generating event, and I have different ways listed here. Guest to a virtual or in-person team product event. So this is for my team. We do group guest events on Facebook Live, so that's what that means. A career survey is just having people watch a video and following up on, the marketing information. Virtual or in-person coffee sharing appointment, guests on Peak and a Pink or more than a pink Cadillac, 2 new bookings, 1 new team member, 10 new contacts or referrals, meaning you went and did a party and you got referrals on a referral sheet, follow-up or guests to the party, and then 10 reach outs, meaning like you attempted booking but 10 of them count as one. So if you look on the left, now this is not scientific. Emily Schutte literally made this up. Okay. So like, if you're like, that doesn't seem right, you know what? It's Emily Schutte science. It's not actual science. But I have found that it's for it to be in the ballpark of truth. Okay. So if you're a consultant that wants to hit a perfect 3, you're going to complete 5 to 10 IPs per week. If you want to do a perfect 6, you're going to do about 10 to 15 per week. Now, here's where it gets really fun, right? Because the purpose of this group is to, sort of mold you into women that, I mean, you're already those women, but like mold your activity and your business into you having more of a leadership role in the company as a DIQ and then some, right? So I made this up. So on target for car, DIQ, or a perfect 10 consultant, you do 15 to 20 IPAs. But back to that pesky word intention again, if you really want, your activity to match your goal, 8 or more of the IPAs at this level would need to come from F, G, H, or J. Now, if you look at F, G, H, or J, you will notice that it is all team building IPAs. Okay, so F, G, H, and J are team building because, you could do a perfect 10, sell a ton of product, and that's going to give you a million IPAs with this, but you don't have any team members. And so if you're looking to, move into that DIQ realm and whatnot, it's going to take at least 8 of them per week being from F, G, H, and K. And okay. And then finishing DIQ, right? Because it's one thing to become one. We also want to finish it. or, finish the car or finish becoming a new director, you're going to complete 20 to 30 per week and 12 or more from or FGH or J. Okay, we got this. And you guys, what's exciting about this? I believe if you actually followed that, having the 12 or more, that intentional team building piece on there, you're not going to just be doing minimums as a DIQ and as a new director. You're going to be like breaking records. You're going to be just doing it big and exciting. And I think that's really great. So one thing I want to tell you is that, okay, so let's say you have this, you figured all this out. You've got the intention, you've got what you want to do this month. You're like, I need to do 15 IPAs a week. And let's say the week gets away from you. Like, let's say this week, it's all of a sudden Thursday and you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't have the faces or the IPAs that I need to do. What do I do? And it's good to have that thought, to at least say that to yourself. Now, instead of, because new year, new you person on here is going to say, nope, I'm not going to say I'll do it next week. Because I tell you what, if you keep doing that, pretty soon you're going to have to do like 65 IPAs the last week of the month. You're all stressed out. Now you start associating a Mary Kay business with stress. It's a lot easier when you're consistently doing it a little bit every week. So let's say you get to Thursday and you don't have the faces. What do? Well, first off, you don't panic. One of my favorite things to do is like, okay, well, how could I get in front of a face today or faces this weekend? One of my favorite things to do is to call up friends, family, people I want to facial. And I say this, hey, Lisa, I'm going to be in your area today. Okay, I'm totally not in Lisa's area. Okay, but I can make myself in Lisa's area. Lisa, I'm totally going to be in your area today. Would it be okay if I stopped over and showed you some of the new products that we have, for the winter season? Or, hey, Lisa, I'm in your area today. Would it be okay? I'm working on finishing a goal this week and I just have to put this moisture mask on like 5 more women this week. Could I stop in and do that with you? And, I've seen even my DIQ Kate Gull, that's how she finished. She would just like, she didn't have the faces in that she wanted. And she would just like call people and just get in front of them. It didn't have to look perfect. They didn't have to have 16,000 friends. I mean, it doesn't necessarily work as well virtually, but it could. You could do like a little pop-up party with them. I mean, we have so many different resources, but who could you get in front of to get it done? Because every time you finish something small like that, it gives you that like, okay, I did that. I conquered my week. And every time you do that, you get a little bit more confidence that you can finish the big goal. The opposite is also true. Every time you tell yourself, I'll do it next week or I'll do it next month, it eats away at you a little bit every single time. You don't think it does, but I promise you, it eats away at it almost makes you scared that you'll never be able to finish something. And then suddenly you start to see your identity as someone who doesn't finish things and who doesn't have follow through, right? So it's those little weekly things that we're always doing. So I know there's 2 minutes left. If anyone has any quick questions or thoughts that they would like to ask me, and like I said, I'll get you guys this IP sheet so that you can, get your month off right and start getting going.